The Medical Marijuana Act, amending sections, repealing sections, and providing an effective date.
Are there any corrections to the history and title bill as read?
None, Mr. Chairman.
The clerk will read the sections.
Mr. Chairman, sections 1 through 10.
Members of the committee, now before you, House Bill 161. What is your pleasure, Senator Hutton?
Mr. Chairman, I move that when this committee does rise and report, after having under consideration House Bill 161, that I recommend the same be concurred in, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hutton.
Mr. Chairman and members of the body, it's obviously no secret why we're here today. This is an issue that we have talked about and prayed about, debated, and now it's time once again to just see where we're at in this entire situation. I want to share with you right out of the box when it comes to the area of compassion. Every meeting that I went to when I was in Havre, because you need to understand that this is completely out of control up and down the High Line. But every meeting that I attended, I took a young man with me by the name of Brian. And Brian was one who did receive some benefit from the use of therapeutic marijuana. And Brian was right there beside me during the whole time, and he was in full agreement with where I'm at here today. I want to share with you, I'm convinced that marijuana is a gateway drug. If you're like me, you've been receiving emails from people back home that are asking us to restore the tobacco funding. If you've ever gone to a Big Brother, Big Sister meeting, if you've ever gone to the Boys and Girls Club, they will tell you that smoking is a gateway drug. I'm not a friend of Bill's. A lot of my family has gone through treatment, but I have a number of friends who are. They not only attend AA, but they go to NA, and those who have gone through it will tell you that marijuana is a gateway drug. Those who have not gone through those programs will try to convince you it's not a gateway drug. You know, because of my position in the real world back in Havre, I was told when I left there, be sure when you get to Helena that you sift through the myths and the propaganda, and you be sure that you listen to the people. Friends in the body, and I say that very sincerely, the people in my district in 2011 have spoken. The sheriffs, my mayor, the doctors, people who work in the hospital. Good friend of ours up in Havre, an OBGYN, says she continually has young women who are coming in who are pregnant. They say, I was told by my caregiver that this will not harm my baby. She has to look them in the eye and say, I'm a doctor, and this will harm your baby. Car dealers, Columbia Grain, the Army National Guard says that separation of soldiers has increased 3 times fold because they're testing hot to drugs. We heard testimony that the greeting in the high school is not, hi, how are you? It's now, how high are you? Some of you were here a couple years ago and you saw when it was brought to the Capitol and the sign was put up, brownies at high noon. But I think the one thing that probably convinced me the most is when the Rimrock Foundation, who I think you have to agree with me, understands a little bit about this subject. They deal with it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And when the Rimrock Foundation comes and tells us that the only thing that they will support is total repeal, I want you to know here this afternoon I am listening. And I come before you today, and you have heard testimony. I come before you today as someone who is compassionate. I've been called in by families to intervene on behalf of their families because of people who've been caught up in this. It is a gateway drug. I'm compassionate because of the coaches in our high school and the teachers in our high school that are telling me Rowlie is completely out of control. I come before you today because I'm convinced that we as a body need to do something about this dilemma that is infecting our entire state. And once again, I want to remind you of the testimony that was given in this particular hearing, that this is like a Gulf oil spill. and we've got to stop it. And so, members of the body, I just encourage you today to think about the young people across our state, the families that are being affected, and sometimes the most compassionate answer you can give is no, you don't need this. Mr. Chairman, I will sit and reserve the right to close.
Are there any amendments?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Is there discussion on the motion, Senator Wendy Boy?